Psychopaths can be described as predatory individuals who use coercion, manipulation, lying, stealing, fraud, abuse, and even take lives without experiencing guilt or remorse. According to experts like Robert Hare and Martha Stout, the prevalence of psychopathy in the population is estimated to be around 1% to 4%. Notably, psychopaths seem to be overrepresented in the corporate executive world and political spheres. The purpose of this video is to delve into the psychology of psychopaths to better understand them, which can aid us in minimizing the harm they cause to ourselves, our loved ones, and society as a whole. Or, as Robert Hare said, compared with other major clinical disorders, little systematic research has been devoted to psychopathy, even though it is responsible for far more social distress and disruption than all other psychiatric disorders combined. Psychopaths are found in every segment of society, and there is a good chance that you will have a painful or humiliating encounter with one. Your best defense is to understand the nature of these human predators. When most people think of psychopaths, notorious figures like Ted Bundy, Charles Manson, or Jeffrey Dahmer often come to mind. While these individuals indeed fit the description of psychopathy and represent its extreme manifestations, it's important to recognize that most psychopaths do not necessarily commit violent crimes. Instead, the majority of psychopaths engage in immoral behaviors that might not attract the attention of the criminal justice system. They may perpetrate emotional or psychological abuse within their families, neglect the well-being of those close to them, deceive and manipulate others for their own selfish gains, and engage in dishonest practices to cheat people out of their money. These actions often go unnoticed or unprosecuted, making it challenging to identify and deal with such individuals before they can cause harm to others. About this subject, this is what Martha Stout said in The Sociopath Next Door. Many people know nothing about this disorder, or if they do, they think only in terms of people who have conspicuously broken the law many times over, and who, if caught, will be imprisoned. Most psychopaths are not incarcerated. They are out here in the world with you and me. The reason most of us refrain from regularly exploiting and harming others is due to the presence of a conscience within us. This conscience allows us to empathize with the suffering of others, and if we were to cause harm to someone, we would experience feelings of guilt. However, psychopaths lack this crucial aspect of conscience, which results in their inability to feel empathy and guilt. In fact, psychopaths do not experience love, friendship, or any emotional connection to anyone at all. If they maintain relationships with others, it is only because they view those individuals as possessions, resources, or tools to achieve their own goals. This emotional void within psychopaths enables them to repeatedly engage in harmful actions against other people without any remorse or consideration for the consequences of their actions. This is what Robert Hare had to say in Without Conscience. Even experienced and case-hardened professionals find it unnerving when they see a psychopath's reaction to a gut-wrenching event, or listen to him or her casually describe a brutal offense as if an apple had been peeled or a fish gutted. He continues, "The psychopath is a self-centered, callous, and remorseless person, profoundly lacking in empathy and the ability to form warm emotional relationships with others, a person who functions without the restraints of conscience." If you think about it, you will realize that what is missing in this picture are the very qualities that allow human beings to live in social harmony. Unlike normal individuals who find meaning in life through emotional connections, psychopaths are driven by the pleasure principle and a constant need for excitement. This can lead many psychopaths to become alcoholics, drug addicts, or engage in risky behaviors, seeking to satisfy their desires. However, the most alluring and captivating stimulant for a psychopath is power. Whether they are criminals, unemployed individuals, middle managers, CEOs, financiers, bureaucrats, or politicians, psychopaths become fixated on the idea of controlling others. This obsession with power becomes the driving force behind their actions, and they will go to great lengths to manipulate and exploit those around them to achieve their goals. The lack of emotional connections and conscience allows them to ruthlessly pursue their desires without any concern for the well-being or feelings of others. This is how Martha Stout explained it in The Sociopath Next Door. The prize to be won can run the gamut from world domination to a free lunch, but it is always the same game: controlling, making others jump, winning. Robert Hare exemplifies this behavior in Without Conscience by sharing an excerpt from medical notes about a patient named Earl, a psychopath himself. The most salient thing about Earl is his obsession with absolute power. He values people only insofar as they bend to his will or can be coerced or manipulated into doing what he wants. He constantly sizes up his prospects for exploiting people and situations. From our perspective, psychopathy is considered a severe mental disorder, but remarkably, psychopaths themselves see nothing wrong with their conditions and may even view it as a blessing. Their lack of emotional attachments and inability to experience empathy and guilt provide them with what they perceive as a significant advantage in a highly competitive and ruthless world. For instance, individuals like Ted Bundy openly dismissed guilt as an unhealthy social control mechanism that has detrimental effects on the body. They believe that their psychopathy allows them to navigate through life without being encumbered by emotions that hinder their progress. Since psychopaths view their condition as beneficial, it's no surprise that attempts to rehabilitate them prove to be overwhelmingly unsuccessful. Their fundamental belief in the advantages of their psychopathic traits makes it challenging for conventional methods to penetrate and change their behavior. When it comes to the literature on treatments for psychopathy, Robert Hare provides a succinct and discouraging summary. He points out that many experts have commented on the matter, suggesting that the shortest chapter in any book on psychopathy should be the one discussing treatment options. Scholarly reviews consistently conclude with a one-sentence statement such as, "No effective treatment has been found," or "Nothing works," reflecting the unfortunate reality that there is a lack of successful interventions for psychopathy. Psychopaths pose an additional challenge as they are notoriously difficult to identify. Despite their profound internal differences from regular individuals, they adeptly conceal their predatory nature behind what the 20th century psychiatrist Hervé Checkley referred to as mask of sanity. Psychopaths can be likened to predatory creatures that skillfully imitate the appearance and behavior of their prey. Psychologist Daniel Jones elaborates on this phenomenon in his article Snake in the Grass, where he draws a parallel with certain spiders in Australia. These spiders emit scents and adopt behaviors that imitate ants to such a degree that the ants accept them as one of their own, allowing them to live permanently among them. The spider then proceeds to gradually exploit its newfound hosts, extracting resources slowly and sustainably over time, without consuming a significant number of ants. This analogy sheds light on the cunning and deceptive tactics psychopaths employ to camouflage their true intentions, while manipulating and harming others in the process. Similar to the Australian spider's deceptive behavior, psychopaths often display a normal facade on their social stage. In fact, they tend to exhibit more charisma, charm, and confidence than the average person. Part of this allure stems from the fact that psychopaths experience significantly lower levels of stress, fear, and anxiety compared to others. However, their captivating social appeal is also a result of their exceptional skill in fabricating falsehoods about their past, achievements, and character. They have a mesmerizing ability to tell stories that captivate their victims, sometimes leaving them psychologically paralyzed. Countless victims have reported that their initial attraction to a psychopath and their continued association, despite the pain caused, were a direct result of the person's exceptional charm. Martha Stout's book, The Sociopath Next Door, delves into the experiences of victims who describe their encounters with psychopaths. They commonly share how they were left astounded by the psychopath's charm, feeling as if they had known them forever, or being captivated by an energy that seemed unique and irresistible. This charm becomes a potent tool for psychopaths exploit to manipulate and victimize others. Fortunately, there are vulnerabilities in the psychopath's carefully constructed mask of sanity. One notable crack in this facade is their pathologically inflated sense of self-importance, which they find nearly impossible to conceal. As described by Robert Hare in Without Conscience, psychopaths possess a narcissistic and excessively exaggerated view of their self-worth and significance. They exhibit a truly astounding egocentric and entitlement, firmly believing that they are the center of the universe. This deluded self-perception leads them to view themselves as superior beings who are justified in living according to their own rules, often disregarding the norms and values that govern social interactions. This grandiose sense of self can be a telltale sign of their psychopathic tendencies, providing a glimpse behind the mask they wear in their interactions with others. The eyes of a psychopath can be another revealing aspect of their true nature, as reported by some victims. Those who have encountered psychopaths often describe their gaze as resembling that of a reptile, empty, cold, intense, and deeply unsettling. The consistency of this reptilian-like quality in the eyes has even contributed to the contemporary myth of reptilian humanoids. The piercing and emotionless stare of a psychopath can evoke discomfort in some individuals, who may sense an instinctual feeling of being potential prey in the presence of a predator. Others may feel completely overwhelmed and intimidated, even to the point of being controlled, without fully understanding what's happening to them. Martha Stout's book, The Sociopath Next Door, explores the psychological impact of a psychopath's gaze. Intense eye contact becomes a crucial factor in some psychopaths' ability to manipulate and dominate others. This powerful gaze is yet another tool in their arsenal to exploit and exert control over those around them, enabling them to achieve their self-serving objectives. Another way to pierce through the psychopath's mask of sanity is by paying close attention to their manner of speaking. Psychopaths often struggle to maintain a coherent narrative, leading to statements filled with contradictions and inconsistencies. Their conversations tend to jump from one unrelated topic to another, and when asked a question, they frequently respond in ways that are irrelevant to the original inquiry. As described by Robert Hare in Without Conscience, psychopaths are notorious for either evading direct answers to questions or providing responses that seem unconnected to the query posed to them. This evasive tactic serves to obscure the truth and keep their manipulative intentions hidden. Additionally, some psychopaths use exaggerated hand movements while speaking. Researchers suggest that these hand movements are linked to how their brains process words, ideas, and emotions. However, these movements also serve as a deceptive strategy, designed to distract listeners and make it harder for them to detect the psychopath's inconsistencies and lies. Robert Hare recounts an instance during a psychological assessment where a psychopath's narrative was accompanied by expansive hand movements and exaggerated facial expressions. This dramatic display effectively blinded the interviewer to the deception that was occurring, highlighting how these manipulative tactics can be disarming and misleading. The precise origin of psychopathy remains unknown, but research suggests that psychopaths are born with a predisposition to this condition. In other words, psychopathy seems to be a product of nature rather than nurture. Martha Stout discusses this aspect in The Sociopath Next Door, highlighting that there is no substantial body of evidence linking the core characteristic of psychopathy, which is the absence of conscience, with childhood maltreatment. Surprisingly, some evidence indicates that psychopaths are influenced less by their early experiences compared to non-psychopaths. This insight implies that the development of psychopathy may be more strongly influenced by inherent factors, possibly genetic or neurological in nature, rather than adverse childhood experiences or environmental factors. As of now, the complex interplay between genetics, brain structure, and environmental factors remains an area of ongoing research and investigation to fully understand the roots of psychopathy. Throughout history, psychopaths have been present in all societies, but the problem of their existence is exacerbated by contemporary trends towards political centralization. As governments expand their reach into various aspects of life and global institutions strive to exert control over the entire world, modern technological advancements also create the potential for a new level of invasive totalitarian rule. Given that psychopaths crave power and possess natural charisma and adept lying skills, coupled with their lack of empathy, fear, anxiety, and guilt, it is reasonable to assume that some psychopaths are drawn to or actively establish themselves in positions of political authority. Polish psychiatrist Andrzej Lobachevsky introduced the term pathocracy in his book Political Ponerology to describe a political system in which psychopaths rule. Without sufficient awareness of the threat posed by this predatory class, such a pathocracy could become a full-blown reality. Lobachevsky emphasizes that when a psychopath holds a position of political power, they can create an epidemic of psychopathology in people who are not inherently psychopathic. This influence progressively paralyzes all aspects of social life, hindering normal development in areas such as economics, culture, science, technology, and administration. The consequences of psychopathic rule can be deeply destructive to a society's well-being and stability unless more people become aware of this potential threat. This is it for today. Thank you for watching, and please don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any of our thought-provoking content. Goodbye.